This is the Hella Creative Archive, where we explore the creative processes of hella creative people. Welcome to the Hella Creative Podcast, where we explore the creative processes of hella creative people. Welcome.
Hi.
So who are you and how are you hella creative?
I'm Sly Watts, and I'm a multimedia hip hop artist. I use a variety of mediums and experiment with those around the framework of hip hop to sort of investigate like our values and like kind of how I view the world and whatnot. And that isn't really limited to like just music. You know, I dabble with like visual arts, like painting and illustration, and some sculpture, but as well as like animation, and like some design work. But most of it centers like music production and rap and performance and just like songwriting and world building and like using lots of those like tools and references to like guide my artistic direction.
Yeah. That's hella creative.
I hope. Otherwise I'd be wasting my fucking time.
So, with all of that, you was outside a lot last year.
Oh God.
You was a highly sought after. People wanted to at the show. You was on like it was all these flyers, all these Sly Watts here, Sly Watts there. So can you talk a little bit about your preparation for all of these live performances and what was the ebbs and flows of that?
It was interesting because I never expected like majority of the shows like far enough in advance, which is a call out to y'all promoters to like get that together so that people can prepare a show. I'm just playing. That was very unsolicited, but yeah, like I guess I got in a place unrelated to being on stage where I was just trying to write new material a lot of the time and practice like new techniques in my writing and in my production and like stage presence. So it was like a transitional period, and it ended up being a blessing in disguise because I got to just practice on stage a lot. And so that's kind of why my name was on so many bills, because I just kept saying yes. Because I'm like, no matter what the crowd looks like, how many people are here, how ugly the flyer looks, how lame the event looks, how weird and awkward and uncomfortable I might feel going here, I can just get on a stage and like practice the things I had been like experimenting with. And also just cause like New Orleans is small and I recognized a lot of people in the audience up till like last year, and that got really annoying as a performer because
Again, you again?
not even just that, but it's like I don't know. I feel like I don't show up in my waking life so much in the artist persona, if that makes sense. So they're not seeing me up there like Sly Watts. They see me up there as their friend and like things like that. And I'm very sensitive to that kind of like energy. And I know a lot of opinionated kind of hatery people. So it just feels like I want the audience to take me more serious, and that involved like leaving the nest so that I could like create a fresh impression on like people. And you know, I talk about it a lot, but there's this kind of mental gymnastics I go through where people want you to meet them where they're at in the audience a lot of the time. If they're too stubborn to like accept like, oh, they really them, and I have to like show up for them. And so it's like I'm kind of battling that and being like, nah, you're gonna meet me up here. Like, And that's also hard because like innately I want to give in, even like when there's applause. It's like I'm actually doing a job and fulfilling a role, and the battle has been like really letting myself become fully consumed in that, because I know a lot of the people in the crowd, so I just want to be personable and like, hey, thanks for coming, but it's actually like kind of counterintuitive, and kind of like a paradox, because I'm like low-key like fuck everybody in it, but not like that, just like I'm not gonna let the need for validation inform what I'm doing up here as a performer, and then like just trying to release, like just nothing but release, just not necessarily take in anything and react, and something I start to say now, I say like to stop negotiating, because there's this like moment when you do something and it might exceed an expectation, and you want to like, and to get there, it usually involves getting really deep into like a certain water, right? And it's like there's no floor, you're just kind of like, you're figuring it out, right? And the instinct is to come up to shore and look around and be like, was that good? What does everyone think? And like trying to stay submerged in that is really hard, because you have to stop, like,
you gotta come up for air.
Like, yeah, come up for air, but also like I don't have to look around and see, because the work's gonna speak for itself. Yeah, like almost like it's just an exercise of assertion. Like I'm not asking you if I can do this. I'm just gonna do it. And then I would also say, because I know this is a long-winded answer, but so much was happening, and I don't get to talk about it enough with like a lot of people. I was also just financially not in a really great place. So it was almost like being deluded enough to like try anyway, for the eagerness to like improve, not so much to like, eat dinner tonight, or take a hot shower type of shit, So it was challenging. I was subletting out of an art studio, and kind of like low key just started sweeping there a lot. So it gave me space to move and like work out certain things with my body. And so now where I'm at is like, I know that vocally I can do this with like from my diaphragm and my throat, but like, I know these certain writing and performance techniques for like how to connect ideas together off the top of my head. Or if I'm playing like a bass or like something, whatever, it's like, oh, I know how to navigate it and just feel it. But right now I'm like trying to be in touch with my body, and like all of those little intricate moments of like how you activate the muscles and like let yourself be fluid, but let yourself be really like firm, or like anything in between that. And a lot of that I haven't really had the chance to show people, but it's really transforming how I really aim to be up there, because I feel like I'm developing like an operation as this artist persona. And yeah, it's kind of a madness, and it's continuous. And I guess I would summarize it as I'm building my own language, and I'm just gonna keep adding words to the dictionary and like learning how to speak the language up there. Yeah.
So that makes me think about, like you said, about being in your body and being deeply submerged into your work. can you talk a little bit about the dichotomy of having to be very like going inward, but then also at the same time having to show up in front of people or having to have an exhibition that's going to be perceived by others?
Yeah, the greatest challenge is time above all else, because I'm terrible with time. Everyone in my life knows that. You know, if there were a roast session for me, all of the jokes would be about how bad I am with time. And I operate, especially in my creative practice, in like my own kind of schedule. And so when opportunities come and like someone offers like this slot for 30 minutes, or like, do I have any work prepared to put in a group exhibition, anything like that, it's frustrating because I'm like working against like the clock that's outside, and like, I guess trying to coexist with that, because I really am privy on like quality control. My hottest take, which is the only like really Virgo opinion I have, is that I think people are a little too harsh about perfectionism, and that's why a lot of shit ain't given outside. Because it's like, y'all need to quit with the participation trophies. You need to think harder, you know? And I know what I'm capable of, and I understand my gifts, and I want to like hone them in a way that would bring me joy and I know would impact people. So it's like, I'm like kind of stubborn and insufferable in that way, because I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna like, go try it again, right? And get really iterative about this process, and like have the audacity to do it all over again. Even if like this thing seems like a definitive end all, like I did it and there's nothing left of me, it's like there's actually a lot left of me. And so that process is really lonely, you know, and I thrive in a lot of isolation. So and I'm also naturally like really reclusive, and COVID exacerbated that into like kind of antisocial tendencies, because I'm just like, I don't know, I need to work on that. I should probably go to therapy for it, because I really don't be responding there. And I've gotten kind of avoidant in that way, but like I've always had like a relationship to my work that's almost escapist, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm taking this time to extract all of the things in me I couldn't really process in like the world and in waking life, because I'm engaging with so much all the time, and this is the only space where it's like about what I have to say, what I feel, and like what I want to do. And yeah, it can be really difficult when you don't feel like you naturally have enough time. And you know, to get all kind of like think piece about it, a lot of it made me realize the deep capitalist state we live in, right? So like I have to like really steal my time back, because artists are not really living in a society compatible with how they want to exist, in my opinion.
Why?
I think it's because we're really sensitive people, and there's something really fluid and imperfect that makes artistic expression really beautiful. But I think everyday life has so much more rigidity to it, and boundaries and like responsibilities and restrictions and like social like kind of status quos that challenge some of our like lifestyle choices and even like our instincts. on top of like niggas is broke as hell. So, you know, that's like 98.5% of it. Yeah, so, you know, art takes time. I guess in that context, time's kind of like money, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, it's like, how am I ever gonna get this out of me, you know? And that was a lot of last year. So it's like I would go into the public, and I would be on those stages, and people were like, you know, applauding. Yeah, and like the whole idolism thing, like that shit's taking place. I'm just like grateful for how in my head I am, because I don't even engage that or like let that guide me at all. But then I go home and it's like that situation, and so that dichotomy really changed my relationship to my work, because I had to realize why I'm doing it. It's clearly not for some like applause or proximity to people or opportunities of any kind or some impression, you know. I think I get better at juggling it. Just the act of like being able to go out and engage the world and basically clock in, and then resort into like this other like underworld, and like apologizing to myself less for making those decisions when no one's looking, because like, who y'all to judge? Like, I have to get the work done, you know. And I think it's because like it feels like a selfish decision, because like I'm walking away from the energy and from the invitations and the calls to like respond to stuff, and just being like, okay, back to regularly scheduled fucking program. Yeah, that, and I know that's gonna continue to like challenge me in life and how I live, because some stuff really does require me to be left the fuck alone. Mm-hmm. And when that's coupled with demands that require me to smile in everybody's face, it makes me feel like I deserve an Oscar. Yeah. You know, which is a whole other thing about like masking, and then just like being real with yourself and not losing the grip of that, because like internally that's kind of scary. Like I want to make sure I'm grounded with myself, so I'm not becoming some Jekyll Hyde kind of person, you know. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Do you think that like your experience last year kind of put you more into focus about what it would be like if you were to wear a mask? Like would that, like how you would have to keep that up? Like did that ever come across when you're like, you know, getting off stage and then you go home to your like situation? Like did it ever kind of, like what was that about?
My answer's kind of messy, I ain't gonna lie. I don't like a lot of niggas, and I'm not really honest about that. And you do come in contact with them in the small ass city. And I really had a coming to Jesus moment with like confronting certain characters outside and realizing like, oh, I'm a public figure and we're at a venue that I want to perform at, so it would make me a liability to have a nigga moment here. So I guess masking in that fashion, right?
Professionalism.
Yeah, and then just like, but it was also like a personal growth opportunity for myself, because it's like, you know, maybe I don't need to engage this shit at all anyway. Yeah. In life in general, like maybe you were like blip and you don't fucking matter, so I'm just gonna do me, and none of whatever you're doing is gonna stop me from like getting in my bag type of shit, you know. But there are those moments where it's like, oh, I could push the red button right now.
Y'all don't even know.
Yeah.
Y'all don't even know.
And I'm like really quiet nowadays, and so like I think it might be forgotten that I have a lot of shit to say. So I try to also channel that into like my work, so that I don't get in trouble. You know, yeah. But also like my situation and like I had like a Canon event last year. I was facing eviction, and the only reason I can really talk about it like this is because like I was trying to like get assistance, and then the runaround with that, just how fucking convoluted that was, and just designed to exploit people in really vulnerable situations. And this lady's telling me why they can't give me this assistance despite the situation proving a dire need because of some stipulation on me paying already, because it's like, look, I'm at the court, like they're trying to make a decision, like I gotta do it. And I'm like, well then why would this program be, and I just hung up in her face because she started condescending me. And I was just like, yeah, it doesn't matter how low I get, like no one's gonna take my dignity. So if I'm in a situation like this, I might as well wear it because I feel like a phoenix and I'm gonna come out of that shit anyway, you know? And it took a lot of like just internal work in my journey to like just be proud of where I'm at and not really let that define me, as corny as that sounds, right? Because you know some people have much harder situations than I do, right? So it taught me how to be grateful as well, and also to take accountability for like, you know, maybe that was my fault because my dumb ass is like making shit all day instead of like applying to work somewhere else. You know, I don't, but yeah, I think I feel like some of it is not really masking as much as it's just having personal boundaries and like discernment enough to read the room and read when it's appropriate to like let shit out, you know, and then being chaotic enough to be like, I'm gonna make a decision today to just kind of like be unhinged. That's on me, I don't care. Yeah, like fuck it, you know. I had to get this out of me. I had to get this message across for y'all. So, you know, maybe it works in my favor, maybe it doesn't. Closed mouths don't get fed though. So, yeah. It's but it's good too because, you know, I feel like you can also relate to this just as a creative person. It's like you have a really deep personal relationship to what you make. It's like a baby. We talk about that. It's like you're pregnant with child in the form of ideas.
Yes.
And so it's like
literally.
Yeah, I think it teaches you like, oh, that's the child. That's not. It's not. It's an extension of myself.
But it's not.
But it's not me. So it's okay that like I'm not so personally involved in this little operation outside. Because especially when you come in contact with people with strong egos and personalities, it's like I don't have to respond to them because that's not for me. You know, the work's gonna say everything anyway, and y'all aren't paying me to fucking care what you think about me. You know, but people so self-absorbed they really believe that I care, that people care. It's like amazing, wow, you know, like okay, give it up. But yeah, it teaches me how to have my personal life. And that's cool because it made me feel like, oh, okay, I'm an adult. Ooh, I'm an adult artist with my little sections of life, you know? I describe it a lot like being in a gym, and it's like you got your treadmill, you got like stuff for ab workouts, and like your upper body shit, you know? And maybe today I'm just gonna work on legs. Maybe I do everything today and be exhausted. I don't know. But it's cool.
Where does all this awareness bring you now in your creative process?
Where does it bring me? Into ego tripping because I'm like, I really got it. Okay. Well, I do find more like confidence, you know, because like why I actually executed an idea after extensive research and trial and error, and just winging it and learning on the job, right? Whether the job is like being in a room with really talented musicians and I don't know any theory. Whether the job is like I'm in this art collective and I have no BFA or MFA, you know, or like I'm at this job and I'm not a Nepo baby, you know, I don't have no credentials that certify me to like sit with the tea party. I'm just me, you know. And so like, yeah, I think navigating a lot of different spaces like that has helped because I do a lot of the work to like learn myself just separate from people and like unpack things in myself, unpack my mind and whatnot. So it's like, it just continues to bring me more to like, or it brings me less in front of any kind of filter in myself as far as like, I see the idea like this attractive, alluring thing sitting at like the lake and there's like a glass wall and it's like now the glass is thinning until it doesn't exist and I can just approach that and engage that and like, it's like having a little treat, like a little cookie. It's like I opened a jar. You know? And I just feel more connected to me. So like, even if everyone today said, I fucking hate everything you do, I'm like, I don't care, man. I figured out myself. Like, I feel amazing. And I enjoy it. So, and I'm proud. And, you know, yeah. I value freedom and the curiosity and insatiable drive to just like learn things. And that's really what I'm aiming to achieve at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, shit. Well, thank you for talking.
Yeah.
Where can the people find you on the internet?
Slide.watts on Instagram. It feels so weird to say out loud.
Right.
It's giving open mic. But yeah. And then streaming platforms, Sly Watts. That's gonna develop more in the future as I finally finish songs that I've been meaning to share. And then yeah, that's really about it. My online portfolio is in a very transitional space, so I'm not gonna promote that right now. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
System is emasculating, gravitating and captivating like negative energy. Track the greatest in a pack of nation, bigger give synergy over it. Positive vibes and smolder it in our essence for free. Cancel madness with the vibes and kill it benevolently. And evidently we give autumn leaves to the winter tree. The bohemians living minds with freedom from belittlement, self-balanced and light and high through the medium. Discipline and control undid the hinge on the shoulder like truth. And so now I'm high on life, this invention I stroll so unusual through the world. Time and I truly quarrel, my mind is to root this world. And this tree of life designed to close feudal flows. The school ain't teach this.